Batch 2, W.H. McBrayer from McBrayer Legacy Spirits out of Stanford, Kentucky. What's it all about? There's only one place to find out. Let's do this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. So today we're taking a look at Batch 2, the W.H. McBrayer. This is their barrel strength 100 proof bourbon. What's it all about? So here are some of the stats on Batch 2. This guy's coming in at 100 proof or 50% ABV. MASHBILL undisclosed. It is non-age stated, and the MSRP is coming in at right around $100. So coming off of Batch 1, which I felt was very different and unique, something I enjoyed. I enjoyed the uniqueness of it. I was very curious to find out a little bit more about Batch 2. In full transparency, this bottle was provided to me for me to do a review of. So why don't we go ahead and kind of dive into today's review. We'll kind of go through this a little bit. I think you'll find this as interesting as I did as I kind of sat down with this. So, all right, color-wise, as you can see, kind of a light kind of copper color. Pretty decent oils for a 100 proof bourbon. One thing I failed to mention before was this whiskey goes in at a very low barrel entry proof. So that should lend itself to having a slightly different profile. A lot of times it kind of gets into more of the creamier mouthfeel. We'll find out today whether or not that's true. So, all right, let's go ahead and kind of dive into the nose. So for me, one of the things I got like right away was this kind of like honey graham cracker kind of note to it. Like a sweet vanilla cake, like maybe a vanilla cake frosting, something like that. And then also from a nuttiness, there's this creamy, like cashew smell. It would almost be like if you smashed a bunch of cashews together and you could almost imagine like what that would smell like. There's something about it that has a very creamy nose to it. And then also something interesting, there's like a wildflower note to that. It's something if you've ever been in an area where there's all these random different wildflowers, there's something about this nose that has a little bit of a wildflower kind of note. And again, it's kind of combined with some of that honey graham cracker that's there. Nice baker's chocolate, meaning there's this chocolate influence, but it's not overly sweet. It's not quite like a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate. There's just this kind of slight chocolate note to it. Nice fresh cinnamon, more of a like a really nice kind of fresh cinnamon, if that makes any sense. And then also something kind of interesting is I'm getting this slight hint of a ginger note. Not something I get quite often, but there's kind of a nice light kind of ginger note. There's something that's very fresh about this, butterscotchy. There's a little bit of a decadence that's there to it, but it smells very kind of rich and creamy, but with kind of all of those flavor profiles kind of put together. So more importantly, let's see how this one's going to taste. Cheers. So the one thing I'll say immediately was like I was getting on the nose, that cashew, that creamy cashew note for me is very present. The creamy factor in terms of the texture of the whiskey is definitely there. I'll say it's maybe one of the more creamy whiskeys I think I've maybe ever had. There's a really nice creamy factor to it. But again, that creamy cashew, I think you're still getting some of the butterscotch, some of those like really nice kind of vanilla cake notes. Butterscotch for sure. Wasn't getting as much butterscotch on the nose as I am getting on the palate. Much more of that on the palate. Very buttery. Again, the mouth coating, the creaminess that's there, nice rich caramel notes. Again, that vanilla cake or vanilla cake batter, creamy cashew. One other thing I'm getting is this slight like golden raisin note as well. Not, again, something I get very often, but there's a little bit of like a kind of a light raisin note that's there. I think it's kind of combined with some of that floral aspect. What this has to offer, the slight different notes, the uniqueness of it, I think makes this a really nice value, an interesting bourbon. One that I would say to a lot of people, you know, hey, give this one a try. I know price point can be a big thing for a lot of people, but I think for what it is that this has to offer, I think it's really different and unique and worthy of having, you know, in your bourbon collection. Much more as I kind of continue to sip on it, more of that honey or like a honeysuckle, that golden raisin note that's there. Maybe even kind of a light fruit, a citrus. I'll say maybe even getting into like a green apple, maybe even slight pear notes. So for me, there's an awful lot going on. One thing I really, really appreciate about it is the creaminess that's there. The finish is nice and long for the most part, leaves a slight black pepper, kind of rye spice that's there kind of on the finish, but with a lot of those sweet kind of floral, honey, you know, caramel notes that are there. Really, really enjoying that. Butterscotch. It has a lot going on, I'll say, for a 100 proof bourbon. So there you have it. We're looking to kind of find out a little bit more about, you know, batch 2 of the WH McBrayer. I think that this is a wonderful bourbon, and one that I wouldn't hesitate to recommend to really anybody. I really love the profile of it. Slightly different, slightly unique. So for me, that's a huge factor. So when you can find something like that, you know, in a small, you know, non-distilled producer such as them, I think it's worthy of paying a slight premium for. Thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. Greatly appreciate you hanging out with me today. Again, this is the WH McBrayer Batch 2 100 proof, so I don't think you can go wrong with this guy whatsoever. So again, thank you very much. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, consider checking the Patreon link in the description below. So guys, thanks again, and remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.